Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I wanted to talk a bit about SplitGate. I'm sure most of you have heard of it already, but in case you haven't, SplitGate is a free-to-play first-person shooter that is basically combining elements of Portal and Halo into one game. Gameplay in the background is from my first couple of matches with the game over the past week. They're nothing special, but I really enjoy it, and just figured I'd throw something up here so I could talk a bit. I ended up playing a few hours, and I wanted to share some of my thoughts about the game as it stands now in the market, and how I think it will hold up in the future with some major releases coming up. There's been a lot of hype surrounding this game, and a lot of major creators have been pushing it. Some pros have even been switching a lot of their content to it, while hackers still plague Warzone. And I think the hype leads to a couple of major questions about the game that I really wanted to talk about here. The first, obviously, is whether or not the game is fun, and from my limited experience, I can say wholeheartedly that I've been having a blast. If you've ever played Halo, the gunplay will feel super familiar to you. I think it ends up being a bit faster paced. I don't really have any statistics on these things, but I think the time to kill is a little bit faster, and the movement speed is a little bit faster than that of Halo, but to me, it just feels faster. I might be wrong about that, though. Maybe I'm just misremembering. Regardless though, even though I grew up as a PlayStation kid and then moved on to PC after that, I have tons of fond memories playing Halo with my friends at LAN parties growing up, and this game reminds me of those days. If you've ever played Halo, you'll be right at home here. And other than the gunplay itself, I think it has a few cool features as well. Obviously it has crossplay and it's free to play, which are both huge bonuses. But it also has a sort of theater mode where it can save replays for you. For me, I've come from games like StarCraft 2 quite a bit, where I will watch my own replays of games so I can try to improve later on, and having that feature here is just amazing to me. It reminds me a lot of the theater mode from the original Black Ops game as well. I'm sure Halo has had something like this in the past, but like I said, I don't have that much experience with Halo since I always played PlayStation games. But I think having that here in a game that will likely be very competitive is really great. I love it a lot, and I kind of toyed around with it a little bit, and you can follow different players' perspectives, which I think is really cool for improvement. You can kind of see from another player's point of view something that you did that maybe put the gunfight in their favor if it was one that you lost. So it's a really cool feature, and I like it a lot. And as far as the maps that I've played, I've had actually a lot of fun with them. I think they're pretty well designed, and they keep the game at a pretty good pace. I've never felt like it was too slow. So I actually have to say that it feels very well done for a game in its beta state. It performs really well for me too. I'm not sure how it might perform on a lower end system. I understand that mine is pretty high end. For those wondering, I have a Ryzen 9 5900X and an RTX 3090 with 64 gigs of RAM. So obviously very high end PC, but it seems to run super smooth for me. So I assume that on other setups, if you just lower the settings a little bit if needed, it will also run smooth for you, which is obviously great. Not only in a beta, but in a competitive game, you really need those high-end frame rates, just so that you can have the competitive edge when possible. I also just want to say that I really enjoy the sort of color in this game. It's such a breath of fresh air to be able to really see your opponents, unlike Warzone, which I post a lot on this channel. It's kind of a blurry mess, and I often don't even see people that are right in front of me in the various shadows and weird lighting that goes on in the Verdansk map. So it just feels amazing to come to a game again that has this really great like lighting and color aesthetic to it that seems to really lean into its competitive nature. And I also just really love the time to kill. It's definitely slower than something like Call of Duty. And as much as I love Titanfall as another sort of sci-fi shooter, it does have a very fast time to kill, kind of like Call of Duty, and I love that this game doesn't. It definitely takes more accuracy and skill to kill another player. And that's something I really, really love, at this point in my gaming career, if you could call it that, is just something that has a lot to do with the gun skills and engagement. With that being said, I don't really like the portal mechanics. I find it a bit gimmicky. I don't really like how just throwing a portal in one place can change a fight. It's kind of fun at first, but I get the feeling that it's going to sort of take over the game as it ages and metas start to develop. I get the distinct feeling that it's gonna kind of end up the way that building did in Fortnite, where My brief time with Fortnite felt like it was less about my skill with a gun in my hand and more about how well I built compared to my opponent. And I just get the feeling that the portals are going to be the same way in this game. So long term on the competitive end of things, I am a bit afraid of how the portals are going to end up affecting the game. And it's not my favorite feature. I know it is like the biggest thing that sort of sets it apart from Halo, but yeah, we'll see how it goes when there's more maps and everything. Otherwise, as far as where it stands right now in the market, I really do think it's a breath of fresh air. It's great to play compared to something like Call of Duty and even Battlefield, those sort of military shooters. It feels really fun to get back to something that's very simple. There's no loadouts, it's just ground loot, very traditional. And it, is funny, but something so classic feels so fresh. And I do enjoy it in the market as it stands right now. I love how fast the games are. They typically last 4 to 5 minutes for me, and I can just keep going and going and going. And yeah, it's great. I love it in the market as it stands right now. But I think where there's a little more concern for me is how it will last long term. The biggest elephant in the room, obviously, is the release of Halo. I think that will come out around the holiday season. And I just get the distinct feeling that the type of people that love this kind of gunplay and that really, really love it, they're just going to move on to Halo when the game comes out. And that's obviously going to leave this game in kind of a bad way. And like I said, there are a lot of Call of Duty and sort of Battlefield refugees playing this game since Call of Duty Warzone is in such a horrible spot right now. Everyone's still waiting for Battlefield 2042. But I get the feeling that when 2042 drops, all of those military shooter types are just going to go right back to Battlefield. And if Warzone ever drops an anti-cheat, maybe those players will start heading back to Warzone. As it stands right now, obviously, I think Warzone's a bit unplayable, so everyone's kind of looking for something new to play. But yeah, long term, I'm kind of concerned about where this will stand. I do think an interesting thing, though, about Splitgate is that I think it can find a really great player base among PlayStation players. PlayStation probably won't be getting Halo, so for a lot of those people that really want this style of gunplay, the longer TTK, the sort of floaty jumping, which also has a sort of soft jetpack mechanic, not like Titanfall or something like that, like a hard double jump, but for those who like those types of movement mechanics and longer time to kill that are on PlayStation and don't feel like buying an Xbox or a PC, this is a great option for them. And since it's free to play, I could definitely see this game having a really large or decently large player base on PlayStation. And especially for someone like me, I obviously play on PC, but all of my friends play on PlayStation. Being cross-platform is so incredible. It's just another game that I can play with my friends. And since I can play it with my friends, I can totally see this game being a regular part of the rotation. And even though I think Xbox and PC players will probably make a harder switch to Halo, I can definitely see this surviving long term on PlayStation. And with all that being said, though, I don't think it's going to die on Xbox or on PC. I think it'll always have like a niche player base. I think there will definitely be enough people that enjoy these sort of portal mechanics in this game, along with the Halo style of gunplay. And I definitely think it'll always have something, even though it might not last in the spotlight the way that the hype is sort of making it out to be right now. That about sums up my thoughts on the game, and I want to know what you all think. Have you had a chance to play Splitgate? And if so, what did you think of it? Will it be something that you're going to end up playing long term? Is it something that your friends are interested in? I really want to know. Leave me a comment down below. I'd love to start a conversation. With that said, if you enjoyed the video, I'd really appreciate it if you dropped a like on it. It really helps and it would mean a lot to me. And if you're new, consider subscribing. And if you didn't like it, you can go ahead and dislike it too. It lets me know that I'm doing something wrong and I need to fix it. But anyway, thank you all for watching, and I'll talk to you all next time. Bye.
Game over. Victory.